Welcome back to God's Lore Deep Dive. Today, we will not talk about the enlightening deity or the one who established order. Today, we delve into the story of the last disciple of Hongjun Laozu, the one who nearly destroyed the entire three realms and challenged all the sages in the universe. Our in-depth analysis topic is Tongtian JIAOZHU, the deity of absolute power and the tragedy of collapse. In this video, we will reveal his origins, his all-encompassing philosophy, and the reason why his God-Slayer sword formation, Zhouxian Si Jianzhen, was the terror of the entire divine realm. Chapter 1. The Hero from Chaos and the Vast Philosophy. 1. Who are we? The elite, or all beings? Among the three streams of primal energy that sought out Hongjun Laozu's Zhijiao palace, there was one stream carrying extraordinary fervor and ambition, completely different from the stillness of Yuanshi Tianzuan or the gentleness of Taishang Laojun. That was Lingbao Tianzuan, later known by his title Tongtian JIAOZHU, the third disciple who chose the most difficult path, transmitting the Tao to all beings. He is one of the great three pure ones, enlightened by Hongjun, carrying within him the peerless power of chaos energy. But unlike his elder brothers, Tongtian JIAOZHU did not accept the discrimination of heaven and earth. He saw potential in plants, birds, beasts, snakes, and even rocks and metal. He declared, Yu Jiao Wu Lei, there is teaching without discrimination of kind. The Tao teachings do not differentiate by species. Anyone with the heart to pursue the Tao can become an immortal or a sage. 2. The vast philosophy of the Jie sect. This philosophy led to the birth of the Jie sect, an all-encompassing sect that admitted countless disciples. If the Chan sect of Yuanshi Tianzuan only selected the elite, those with good spiritual roots, the Jie sect was the gathering place for all beings, from powerful spirit demons to mythical beasts with a devotion to the Tao. His domain was Jiejiao Island, Golden Turtle Island, a vibrant place teeming with disciples of all forms. This was a beautiful philosophy, yet also fraught with danger. It directly threatened the social order that Yuanshi Tianzuan and the celestial court wished to establish. In the eyes of the Chan sect, the Jie sect was a motley assembly, a potential hazard to the balance of the three realms. This difference was not merely religious, but about power and the philosophy of cosmic governance, and it was certain to lead to an unavoidable conflict. 3. The Master's supreme gift. Despite being the last disciple, Tongtian JIAOZHU was passed down a divine artifact by Hongjun Laozu whose destructive power surpassed all others, the four immortal slaying swords, Zhouxian Si Jian. These are four swords representing slaughter and ultimate destruction. Slaying immortal, trapping immortal, killing immortal, and severing immortal. This artifact is proof that Hongjun saw something special in this disciple. Perhaps he knew that only absolute power could protect an all-encompassing philosophy, accepting all beings like the Jie sect. Or perhaps he prepared Tongtian JIAOZHU for a grander role, be it the role of a hero or a tragic failure. It was these swords, combined with the immense yet stubborn will of Tongtian JIAOZHU, that ignited the Great War. In Chapter 2, we will delve into how the four immortal slaying swords and their terrifying formation challenged all rules and sages, and why it became the terror of the entire three realms. Chapter 2. The four immortal slaying swords. The sage-killing formation. 1. The essence of lethal energy and the four swords. The four immortal slaying swords, Zhouxian Si Jian, are not just four mere swords. They are proof that Tongtian JIAOZHU was not only a philosopher but also a supreme warrior possessing boundless destructive capability. This divine artifact was passed down by Hongjun Laozu, and it represents the raw, untamed power of chaos. Immortal slaying sword, Zhouxian carries the lethal energy of annihilation, capable of piercing all defenses and killing immortals. Immortal trapping sword, Xian Xian, its power lies in imprisonment, halting, and weakening the opponent. Immortal imprisoning sword, Lu Xian, capable of blockading space and time, isolating the target from all support. Immortal extinguishing sword, Zhu Xian, represents the final extinction, severing all connections to life and reincarnation. Each sword is an earth-shattering weapon on its own, but their true power is only unleashed when they combine to form the God-Slayer sword formation, Zhouxian Si Jianzhen, the formation hailed as the foremost lethal formation in the three realms. 2. When the formation appears, the terror of the sages. Tongtian JIAOZHU raising the God-Slayer sword formation was an official declaration of war not only against the Chan sect but against the entire cosmic order. This formation was not a conventional battlefield, but a massive execution chamber. When activated, the four swords were erected at the four corners of the world, creating a space overflowing with lethal energy and chaos power. Inside the formation, all natural principles were inverted. Time seemed to stop, space was warped, and the cold lethal energy was so intense it could freeze the soul. Anyone who stepped into the formation, whether a great Luo golden immortal or a powerful deity, faced the risk of complete annihilation. The most terrifying thing about this formation, and the reason it instilled ultimate fear, is its ability to kill sages, Sheng Ren. The sage level is the highest realm, outside of reincarnation, immortal, and virtually invincible. But the God-Slayer sword formation could sever the sage's link to the heavenly Tao, turning them into a mortal target. The existence of this formation directly threatened the status and eternity of the cosmic rulers. 3. The unresolvable conflict. Tongtian JIAOZHU's use of this formation was an act of desperation, but also a proclamation. It was the climax of the conflict between two philosophies. The Jie sect, all beings, freedom, believed they were fighting for the right to equality, using supreme power to protect their weaker disciples. The Chan sect, the elite order, viewed this as rebellion, a hazard that must be eradicated at all costs to maintain the stability of the three realms. Recognizing the extreme danger of the formation, Yuanshi Tianzuan and Taishang Laojun were forced to combine their powers. They even had to appeal for aid from distant sages, figures associated with Western Buddhism like Taoist Jain and Taoist Zhuanti. The necessity of allying with other forces proves the helplessness of the three pure ones when facing the formation created by Hongzhuan's very last disciple. Four sages had to attack together, each breaking one of the formation's gates, to successfully dismantle the God-Slayer sword formation. It was this unprecedented chaos that compelled the Supreme Master to reappear. In Chapter 3, we will return to Hongzhun Laozhu, analyzing the moment he stepped onto the battlefield, and how his action not only ended the war but sealed the fate of Tongtian JIAOZHU and the three realms. Chapter 3. The Reappearance of Hongzhuan and the Tragedy of Tongtian. 1. The Shadow of the Tao on the Battlefield. After the God-Slayer sword formation was dismantled by the alliance of the four sages, the battle between the Chan sect and the Jie sect reached an irreversible state. The destruction had exceeded the control of the three realms, threatening to collapse the entire cosmic order that Pangu had constructed. It was at that darkest moment, when Tongtian JIAOZHU's pride led to absolute chaos, that the primordial light of the Tao reappeared. There was no thunder, no trumpet signal. Only a sudden, dead stillness enveloped the battlefield. From Zhouxian Palace, Hongzhun Laozhu materialized. He sat upon a cloud platform, his radiant golden Tao light shining forth, immediately compelling all the warring sages, from the majestic Yuanshi Tianzuan and the gentle Taishang Laojun, to the Western unorthodox sages, to bow their heads and kneel. His appearance was the final affirmation: he is the absolute rule, standing above all sages and all laws of war. 2. The final verdict. Hongzhun did not need to use devastating power. He simply spoke, but his words carried the weight of billions of years of the cosmos. He punished his disciples not with destruction, but with a deeply symbolic act, compelling all three pure ones to swallow the fatal poison pill. This was not actual poison, but a supreme oath. If any of them were to wage war against each other again, the poison would take effect, and the sage would suffer. This act was Hongzhun Laozhu's way of re-establishing boundaries, forcing the most powerful existences in the universe to abandon individual greed and comply with the order of the Tao. For Tongtian JIAOZHU, this punishment was the most tragic. He was defeated by the five sages, the four allied sages plus one more powerful entity in some narratives, and then stripped of his right to participate in the operation of the three realms by his own master. He had failed to protect his all-encompassing philosophy, and it was his own stubbornness and pride that led to the collapse of the Jie sect. 3. The tragedy and legacy of the defeated. Legend says that Hongzhun Laozhu took Tongtian JIAOZHU back to Zhouxian Palace, or confined him to a separate dimension for contemplative retreat. This was the master's final preservation for his disciple, preventing the complete annihilation that Tongtian's pride might have caused. Tongtian JIAOZHU's tragedy lies in the contradiction between ideal and reality. He wished to give opportunity to all beings, Jie sect, for equality, but he failed against the stubbornness and discrimination of the elite, Chan sect. The collapse of the Jie sect confirmed that, in the new era of the celestial court, absolute freedom must bow to established order and rules. After the Great War, order was restored, but the price was the disintegration of a magnificent sect. In the next chapter 4, we will analyze the true legacy of Tongtian JIAOZHU, the impact of this tragic failure on the entire mythological system and his position in the hearts of his disciples of all species. Chapter 4. The Forgotten Legacy and the Echo of the Jie sect. 1. The Price of Failure. After the intervention of his master, Hongjun Laozu, and the imposition of the fatal oath, Tongtian JIAOZHU completely withdrew from the three realms. The Jie sect dissolved. Most of his disciples of all species, from powerful demon immortals to humble spiritual beasts, faced tragic fates. They were either utterly destroyed during the investiture of the gods' war, imprisoned, or compelled to work under the authority of the celestial court. The collapse of the Jie sect was not just the failure of a religious school. It was the failure of a philosophy. It was the confirmation that, in the new era, discrimination had triumphed over equality. However, this failure turned Tongtian JIAOZHU into a complex and tragic figure, rather than a pure antagonist. He fought for a noble ideal, Yu Jiao Wu Lei, granting opportunity to all beings regardless of origin. His tragedy lies in the fact that he used the most destructive power, the four immortal slaying swords, to defend a philosophy of tolerance and equality, thus allowing his own ideal to be stained by blood and lethal energy. 2. The Forgotten Legacy and the Echo of the Jie sect. Although the Jie sect dissolved, Tongtian JIAOZHU's legacy persists. In folk religions and the beliefs of later spirits and demons, the Jie sect remains an echo of a time when all species had the opportunity to cultivate and become immortals. Furthermore, some of the Jie sect's divine artifacts and powers were inherited, though scattered. It was this philosophy of non-discriminatory freedom that influenced later myths, where characters like Sun Wukong, a stone spirit, not human, but successfully achieving immortality, found their path to cultivation. That is the spirit of the Jie sect, an acknowledgement that talent and devotion to the Tao can come from anywhere, not just from noble lineage. Tongtian JIAOZHU, though defeated, left a major question for the divine realm. Is the rigid order of the Chan sect truly the best way to sustain the universe, or is the vastness of the Jie sect the true path of the Tao? 3. Conclusion on Power and the Eternal Mystery. Tongtian JIAOZHU is the only deity among the three pure ones capable of challenging all the sages and compelling four supreme beings to unite to defeat him. His power was not just magical strength, but the absolute courage to stand up against fate. He failed, but his failure was tragic and epic. After his defeat, he returned to Zhouxian Palace, under the protection and surveillance of Hongjun Laozu. His story serves as a cautionary tale. Even supreme power must bow to the absolute rule of the Tao. Through the story of Tongtian JIAOZHU, we have completed the epic of the three pure ones and Hongjun Laozu. We have seen the boundless power of the master, and the tragedy of the stubborn disciple. What are your thoughts on the sacrifice of the Jie sect? Does Tongtian JIAOZHU deserve the title of the most powerful of the three pure ones? Share your opinions in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to the God's Lore Deep Dive channel to continue diving deep into the world's great myths.